What if I told you that the man, known as the King of Hollywood, the rugged heartthrob of Gone with the Wind, may have belonged to a secret society with roots older than the United States itself? Clark Gable, the embodiment of masculinity and charm in old Hollywood, is rumored to have been deeply connected to Freemasonry, a brotherhood shrouded in mystery, ritual, and influence. While most of his public image was defined by suave confidence and romantic conquests, behind closed doors, whispers swirled about his ties to the Masonic order. Officially, no lodge has publicly confirmed Gable's initiation, but multiple sources, including fellow actors and private memoirs, hint at his affiliation. Born in 1901 in Ohio, Gable rose from small-town obscurity to become a leading man. But those close to him noted his fascination with philosophy, esoterica, and fraternal orders, interests that align precisely with Masonic ideals. During his early years in Hollywood, Gable frequently attended exclusive gatherings of powerful men, some of which were held in known Masonic temples across Los Angeles. One of his closest friends, actor Robert Taylor, was a confirmed Freemason, and some believe it was Taylor who introduced Gable to the order. According to gossip that never made it into the headlines, Gable would often excuse himself during shoots or premieres to attend mysterious club meetings that no one dared to question. Some insiders recall his quiet disappearances during pivotal studio negotiations, suggesting he was consulting with an off-the-record counsel, possibly Masonic in nature. Masonic researchers point to an old photograph from 1936, showing Gable standing in front of a Los Angeles lodge during a dedication ceremony, dressed in what appears to be formal fraternal attire. Though the image was never widely published, it circulated in private circles and only deepened speculation. Then there's his wartime service. In 1942, after the tragic death of his wife Carol Lombard, Gable enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces. Some say he was steered toward military service not just by grief, but by a greater obligation to serve as a symbol of honor, an obligation tied to his Masonic commitments. During the war, he was rumored to have met with prominent Freemasons in the military, including high-ranking officers who shared his allegiance. After the war, Gable's public presence became more selective. His film roles declined, and he took more interest in charities, veterans affairs, and civic institutions, all sectors known for their Masonic connections. His donations to children's hospitals, scholarships, and silent support for civic reform in California suggest a larger purpose behind his wealth and fame. Gable passed away in 1960, just days after completing his final film, The Misfits. His funeral was attended by a cross-section of Hollywood elites and political figures, some of whom were confirmed members of Masonic lodges. Oddly, one of the pallbearers wore a ring bearing the square and compass, a symbol unmistakably tied to the Brotherhood, but no press outlet dared to comment on it. Why the silence? Perhaps because by then, the code of secrecy ran too deep. Whether Gable was a card-carrying member or simply an admirer of Masonic tradition, his name remains one of the most frequently whispered in conversations about Hollywood and hidden power. He was a man who wore many masks: actor, lover, soldier, and possibly a brother of the craft. In the glamorous golden age of cinema, Clark Gable's most hidden role may have been the one he never performed in front of a camera. Nicolas Cage has always been one of the most enigmatic figures in Hollywood. Known for his eccentric roles, wild interviews, and unpredictable behavior, he's the kind of actor who seems to blur the line between his personal life and the strange characters he plays. But behind the Oscar-winning performances and bizarre headlines lies a deeper layer to his story, one that few ever talk about. Because if the rumors are true, Nicolas Cage may not just be a Hollywood oddball. He may be a secret Freemason with ties to ancient traditions and powerful esoteric beliefs that have quietly shaped his life and career for decades. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear, and give us a like if you enjoy these secret histories. Now back to Cage. On the surface, Nicolas Cage is an open book. He's spoken at length about his acting method, his money troubles, and his love of Elvis. But dig just a little deeper and things start to get weird. Like the fact that Cage once purchased a pyramid-shaped tomb in New Orleans, where he plans to be buried. Or the time he bought a haunted mansion once owned by infamous serial killer Madame Lalaurie. Or his obsession with ancient Egypt, cryptic symbols, and secret orders. All of which has led many to believe that Cage isn't just fascinated by the occult. he might actually be part of it. One of the most persistent rumors about Cage is that he's a modern-day Freemason. While he's never publicly confirmed membership in any Masonic lodge, the signs are everywhere. Take his role in the National Treasure films. Cage doesn't just play a historian chasing artifacts. He plays a character deeply immersed in Masonic lore, secret codes, and hidden history. From the Eye of Providence to the Knights Templar to the search for hidden Masonic treasure beneath Washington, D.C., the film is practically a love letter to Freemasonry. And Cage didn't just star in those movies, he helped develop them. Insiders say he was instrumental in shaping the narrative and insisted on including real Masonic imagery. That's not the kind of detail most actors would care about. But for Cage, it seemed personal. His own home was once filled with Masonic-style relics, ancient maps, and sculptures of Egyptian gods. And then there's the ring. Sharp-eyed fans have spotted Cage wearing a peculiar gold ring in multiple photos and public appearances. The design? An ornate square and compass, the unmistakable symbol of Freemasonry. Some dismissed it as a prop or a fashion choice, but others believe it was Cage quietly signaling his affiliation to those in the know. This theory gained traction when Cage began talking about his spiritual beliefs. In interviews, he's described himself as a seeker, someone who believes in fate, hidden knowledge, and the idea that there's more to the world than meets the eye. He's quoted passages from occult authors and spoken admiringly about mystical thinkers. When asked about his eccentric tastes, Cage often responds with cryptic phrases like, "Everything is connected," or "There's a pattern in the chaos." Statements that sound an awful lot like Masonic philosophy. But the most compelling piece of evidence might come from Cage's own family. He's the nephew of director Francis Ford Coppola, part of a Hollywood dynasty with deep ties to powerful institutions. Some researchers claim that several members of the extended Coppola family were affiliated with fraternal orders, including the Freemasons and Rosicrucians. Could Cage have inherited more than just acting talent from his family? Could he have inherited a legacy of hidden knowledge and secret alliances? It's impossible to say for sure, but when you connect the dots, from his obsession with ancient symbols, to his roles in Masonic-themed films, to the mysterious artifacts he surrounds himself with, a picture begins to emerge. A picture of a man who may have used the silver screen not just to entertain, but to communicate something deeper, something only a select few would recognize. Whether Nicolas Cage is a Mason, a collector of occult memorabilia, or just an actor with a flair for the dramatic, one thing is clear: he's not like anyone else in Hollywood. And perhaps that's exactly the point. Because sometimes the most extraordinary secrets are hiding in plain sight. And when it comes to Nicolas Cage, the truth might be stranger than even his wildest roles. But believe it or not, our next subject might top even Cage for mystery and secret symbolism. Because next up is a hip-hop legend whose rise to fame is filled with so many Masonic references, hidden gestures, and coded messages that fans have been decoding them for years. Stick around, because the final chapter takes us from the big screen to the main stage, where the symbols of power flash behind the lights and the beats. Jay-Z is a global icon, a billionaire mogul, a lyrical genius. But for some, he's also something else entirely. A symbol of secret societies operating behind the scenes of fame and fortune. Over the years, countless theories have circulated about his ties to Freemasonry and the Illuminati. Some say it's all nonsense. Others believe it's hiding in plain sight, woven into his lyrics, his logos, and even his hand gestures. But when you start pulling at the threads, it's not hard to see why these theories won't die. So let's take a closer look. Could Jay-Z really be connected to the world's most secretive organizations? And if so, what message has he been sending us all along? From the beginning of his career, Jay-Z made it clear that he wasn't just another rapper. He was building an empire. But while others focused on chains and cars, Jay focused on symbols. One of the first clues was the logo of his company, Rockefeller Records, a diamond shape, held up with both hands, like a pyramid. He called it the rock sign. It became iconic, flashed at concerts and in music videos across the world. But it also looked suspiciously similar to a symbol used by Freemasons and Illuminati, the eye in the pyramid. Coincidence? Maybe. But then he started rapping about it too. In his song Freemason with Rick Ross, Jay-Z directly addressed the rumors. "I said I was amazing, not that I'm a Mason." Was he denying it? Or taunting the people who accused him? Because for someone claiming to be falsely accused, he sure leaned into the mystery. He's worn Masonic-themed clothing, including shirts that say, "Do what thou wilt," a phrase made famous by occultist Aleister Crowley, whose teachings have long been linked to esoteric groups. And let's not forget his frequent use of the all-seeing eye imagery in music videos and stage visuals. Then there's the symbolism in his lyrics. In the song Heaven, Jay-Z compares himself to a god. He raps about being above the rules, about secret knowledge, about controlling the game from the top. To some, this is just artistic expression. To others, it's Masonic philosophy repackaged as hip-hop. There are even deeper connections. Jay-Z is known for associating with powerful figures, from politicians to tech giants to spiritual leaders. He's appeared at secretive events like the annual Bilderberg meetings. He's been photographed making the same hand signs linked to Masonic rituals. And his massive business empire, Rock Nation, title, Armand de Brignac, operates more like a private club than a record label. Insiders say that Jay-Z carefully curates his inner circle, that loyalty, secrecy, and symbolism matter, that to be in his orbit you have to play by his rules. And those rules sound suspiciously like the codes of Masonic brotherhoods. Now let's be clear, none of this is confirmed. Jay-Z has never publicly admitted to being a Freemason, but he's also never really denied it. He dances around the question, flirts with the iconography, wears the symbols like a second skin, and maybe that's the point. Maybe he understands the power of myth, the allure of mystery. After all, what's more powerful than fame? Fame, cloaked in secrecy. It's also worth noting that Jay-Z came from nothing. Born Sean Carter in Brooklyn's Marcy Projects. No connections, no money. Just a mind for business and a mouthful of rhymes. And yet he rose to the top faster than anyone expected. Some say he made a deal with the devil. Others say he found a brotherhood that opened all the right doors. Either way, Jay-Z is no ordinary success story. He's a cultural architect, a man who turned himself into a brand, a movement, a mystery. Whether or not he's a Mason, he's mastered the art of the symbol, the way it captivates, confuses, and controls. And in doing so, he's become a living legend, one who may be hiding more than just beats behind the music. Because sometimes, the truth isn't shouted from the rooftops. It's whispered in the spaces between. So next time you see that diamond in the sky, or that eye in the video, or those cryptic lyrics in a song, ask yourself, what's he really trying to say? And who's he really saying it to? One thing is certain. Jay-Z built an empire on more than just music. He built it on symbols, secrets, and stories no one can quite explain. And maybe that's what makes him so powerful. Not the money, not the fame, but the mystery.